This week on Ticket Stubs, we're discussing the film that started Ice-T's acting career and Wesley Snipes is the best part about it. So if that doesn't say it all, I don't know what else to tell you. It's a film. It's 1991's New Jack City. Hello, buddies.
Hello, buddies.
Hello, my friends. How are you both?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, got a bubble tea, so, you know, living the dream. There is nothing
Everything's coming up right.
It sure is.
I've got a vanilla Coke, the supreme of all Cokes, so I'm good. How are you doing?
I would also agree to that.
Yes.
I'm good. I have a glass of dishwashing liquid here, so...
Oh, delicious.
What kind?
Follow that down with a bit of bleach, mate.
Is it...
Delicious.
But this week we're talking about a pretty nothing movie.
Yeah.
Yet again,
I know.
Surprisingly.
God, we are just hitting it out of the park at the moment.
Oh, Ryan, you better choose a good movie or I'm going to come over there.
So today, my buddies, we're going to be watching 1991's New Jack City. Have either of you heard of this film before?
I hadn't heard of it, but I'd seen the meme, and then I found out that the meme was from a movie, and I now know there's a reason why I never heard of it.
I actually love you said that, Ciarin, because I had literally never heard of this movie, never seen the poster. The only thing I had seen is that meme as well. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. It's Wesley Snipes. He looks so sad.
Yeah, I don't know why. I never thought of like, where did this come from? I was totally accepting of the fact that Wesley Snipes, somebody took a video of him crying at one point. And it just lives
was
on
this
the
when Wesley
internet.
Snipes was doing? Yeah, was this when Wesley was doing stock photos? And they like cry and point a gun, and it's just lived on forever.
Oh man, some of the stock photos you can find are just amazing. I would not be surprised.
Well, I came across this when I was a teenager, so 12.
Yeah,
13,
back to isn't your middle name Methuselah? He's he was the oldest man in the Bible. Just.
Yeah, I know. You've used this joke before.
Yeah, and you cut it out. You fuck.
Oh. No, I'll do it again. No, I just came across this film randomly when I was a teenager, and I was like, okay, R18. Oh, I'm feeling naughty. I'm only 16.
This is the tamest R18 movie ever. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I probably hadn't watched it since then. I remember it being a lot worse, but look, it's also not.
Look, I think it got the R18 from the amount of titties that we saw in this movie. I'm just gonna say.
Your intro, mate, could have just been, do you like Scarface? Do you want to see a bad version of it? Then watch New Jack City.
Do you want to watch Scarface by proxy because they watch it non-stop throughout the movie?
So weird.
They do. But yes, this New Jack City, it's basically the ghetto Scarface. It was Wesley Snipes is in there as the big villain, Nino Brown. He's a giant crack dealer. He works alongside his brother. They make a little gang. It's Ice-T as kind of a renegade cop, which is also Ice-T's first breakout role, his first sort of movie appearance. Then he has a partner called Nick, and then their kind of controlling officer is a character called what is his name? I can't remember. Anyway, they have their controlling officer, whose real name is Mario Van Peebles, because I can't remember if they even give him a name, but he's also the director in this.
I know. Yeah, which I found really interesting when I was looking him up on IMDb, and I was like, hang on a second.
Wait
what
a
is
minute.
this?
I was going to say, Dane, it's very interesting that you say that this was Ice-T's big breakout role because he was terrible.
He was dog shit.
He was
so bad.
the worst part about this movie. Like, he was genuinely, like, I literally wrote Ice-T is shit.
Oh, yes. So it was his first time acting in a movie. Like, he'd done his music videos and whatnot.
I'm genuinely surprised that it wasn't his last bit of acting.
Yeah. I was going to say, has he actually done other bits? I don't think I've seen him in anything.
This is
Ice-T.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, he got typecast as a cop after this.
Oh.
It's like he.
Oh, is that him? Okay.
Yeah, like he didn't.
right.
He didn't
Okay.
want to play the cop apparently, but now all he does is play cops. So fuck me, right?
Yeah. So I've got a little story about how he got hired for this job as well, which will you won't be surprised because he is terrible in this. The director, it was also his first kind of big film. He'd done a bunch of shorts. He's directed a whole heap of like TV episodes. So he did a couple of episodes of Sons of Anarchy, some Lost. He did Bloodline. So whole bunch of random stuff. But this was basically his only big budget movie. So anyway, shall we get into this and get this over with as quickly as possible?
Rip this Band-Aid off, please, Dane.
So New Jack City, it's starting off. We've got the opening credits, and there's basically radio and television reports telling us that crime's at an all-time high, and drug deals are going on, and kids are getting shot, and there's gang wars, and it's talking about all this terrible stuff. Poverty is on the rise, and blah, blah, blah. And then, after telling about all this shit that's going on, it's like, and one fella got trapped in a ventilation duct trying to rob a building. I'm like,
This was like the longest title sequence ever. Like, just the opening to get to where we get to start the movie. I was like, nobody likes to watch opening titles. Why did you make it like 20 minutes long?
yeah, it's the first.
Yeah.
It's the first act of the film.
Yeah, literally.
So we get through that. We're told, things are not going very well, and it zooms in on this bridge, and there's a guy being hung upside down by his feet over this bridge by this thug, and he's screaming. His wife or his girlfriend is next to him screaming as well. The bridge is busy as shit. Like, it is lane to lane, chock-a-block.
It's the middle of the day.
No one stops to help.
It's the middle of the day. Like, what a time to fucking dangle a guy off the bridge. And might I also add, you can hear the helicopter, because, it's 1991. They didn't have drones. They shot all this with a helicopter. And you can, clear as day, hear the helicopter.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get, like, it must be hard to ADR stuff, but really, you wouldn't ADR it just so you don't hear the helicopter through the whole thing.
So you don't hear the helicopter that's filming this scene.
And then in the close-up shots, I think they realized, like, oh shit, we can hear the helicopter. The close-up scenes, they actually carried the helicopter noise through, I noticed. I think they kind of went, oh no, we made a mistake. And so they're like,
oh, no.
Okay, we could ADR it, or we could just add more helicopter. Creative. Imagine having to change roles of film in a helicopter.
In New York.
Yes. Imagine if you stuffed this up. This probably was like the most expensive scene in the film to shoot. And it's just for the opening. They hired a helicopter and it was like, and then did that whole thing. If you messed up, you would have, like, because it was a one-shot type thing, leading up to the guy dangling. If you messed that up, you would have been the most hated person on set that day.
Well, I actually have a bit of trivia about the budget, and you'd be surprised. That helicopter shot didn't eat up their budget, so we'll get to that at the end. Danny did his research.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
So, this fella's being dangled over from upside down from his feet, and then Wesley Snipes steps out of the car. He's got this bright blue suit on, this medallion, just giant 90s medallion. Anyway, that's a side note. So Wesley Snipes comes out, and he's like, hey, you don't have my product or my money. And he goes, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. And drops this guy off the
greatest,
bridge.
the greatest line.
Some of the lines in here, like a lot of my notes, I didn't actually write my opinion. I just wrote a line that they said because I was like, that was interesting. They say some interesting.
That's the same as me, Ciarin. I was like, wait, did he really just say that? Okay, let me just write that down because that is next level.
But yeah, very, very, very. I wrote, this is a very public place to kill someone. It's like midday, and it's.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've actually got his line written down. Nino goes, "Money talks and bullshit runs a marathon. So see ya, and I wouldn't want to be ya." And drops
doesn't make any sense. But it's like money talks, and on another note, bullshit runs a marathon. And sarcasm is a sprint, not a marathon.
Yeah, he's a sassy little villain. This Nino Brown. He's got a couple of cheesy one-liners.
Yeah, I do really like that first scene though.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like, like, it shows how menacing he is. Yeah.
And he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, it's fucking 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. I'm gonna drop you. I don't care who sees
My
me.
favorite time to kill people.
I don't care who sees me drop you off this bridge. It doesn't matter to me. This just establishes, like, Wesley Snipes was the best part about this movie. Hands down.
Oh, hands down.
Look, these are my hands.
Absolutely
Do you see
down.
my hands? Down.
That doesn't really work well in a podcast medium, Ciarin, but for the listeners, yes,
Imagine
you just put her hands on the
my
table.
nicely manicured lady hands. Down.
So, next we're at this little shanty town, and Ice-T is doing a bit of a drug deal with a very young Chris Rock. This was also Chris Rock's breakout role, believe it or not. So we got Ice-T doing his first big movie.
He did this before he did Marty from Madagascar. No.
I actually wrote here, I wrote, we can get to this later, but I wrote down, all I can think of is Marty the zebra on crack. Like, I need it, man. It's calling me.
The Madagascar sequel we deserve.
Yeah. That old lady is the drug dealer, you know, the old grandma that's always got the handbag. Bad kitty. Yeah, he's like, yeah, like, I can believe this was Chris Rock's breakout role because he was awesome. He did a great job.
I think he just started on Saturday Night Live as well around that time, so he was like a well-known name. It was kind of like where his career was really starting to peak, but I've got some more trivia about him later on down the line. I've got tons
Oh
of
my god.
You have to save this.
Dane, I think you'll find his peak is actually Spiral.
You had to find a lot
Yeah.
of trivia to make up for this fucking movie, I tell you what.
Yeah, I did. So, they're doing a drug deal. There's Ice-T, and he's Chris Rock, and they're negotiating drugs. And Chris Rock is looking pretty tweaked, and he rips off Ice-T, and he takes his bag of money, and they go on this big, long foot chase. Chris Rock steals a push bike. He's pedaling away. Ice-T is chasing him on foot. Now, should I throw out my bit of trivia now? Or save
Do
to
it
the
now.
end?
I can't wait.
Bit of sizzle.
So, the reason that this is on a foot chase is originally it was going to be a car chase, but that was the thing that ate up their entire budget. So they scrapped it and made it this 17-minute long foot and bike chase instead.
Oh.
Yeah. The whole time, that's interesting. But the whole time I was like, why hasn't Chris Rock gotten away yet?
Well,
Like, he's on a bike.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Why is he riding so slow?
I was gonna say, Ice-T must be the fucking T-1000 from Terminator 2 or something, because he's fucking pumping it. Like, he just can't get away.
Yeah,
he's like...
keeping
"Dush, dush,
pace."
dush, dush, dush."
Anyway, it goes for ages. They're running over bridges and running down hills and everything else.
They knock a guy's
staircases.
cornflakes out of his hands. Did you see that?
Yep, they're gone.
he
They're
just
spilled
was
everywhere.
Like, oh no, my cornflakes! Like, why was it open? Why was his cornflakes open? That's a poor decision. You don't open the cornflakes
What
till
is he
you're safe
doing?
at home.
Just more victims of this drug war going on in New Jack City. And eventually, Ice-T catches up with Chris Rock in this playground, and he's like, "Get out of the motherfucking way!" and shoots Chris Rock directly in the Achilles.
I have.
And there's kids
I have
everywhere.
another note. Why is it raining suddenly? Did you notice that? It was like normal,
I
and
don't
then
even remember.
it was normal, and then all of a sudden, like, the ground was wet. It looked like it had been raining. So I was like, "This is whoever was in charge of continuity on this film. Like, was probably not doing a very good job."
Maybe there was another drug deal like 15 minutes beforehand, and someone dropped their milk everywhere.
Cleaning it up. Yeah, quick, get the
Yeah.
gurney out. I
Could be.
was like,
Yeah.
is it raining or is this just a very wet playground?
Unless they'd done it before, and like that was a second take with the squibs or something,
And they hosed
and then they
it
had to
down.
clean the area.
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't inject logic into this, Ryan.
Yeah. Sorry. the milk got spilled.
So, yep, he gets shot, and basically the bag of money spills everywhere. There's chaos. People are trying to yank Ice-T off Chris Rock because Ice-T is an undercover cop in this little drug deal. So we find out that, yep, he's a cop, and clearly he plays by his own rules.
It sounds like Spiral.
But also, there's a guy watching from the sidelines. I believe his name is Cousin Kareem in this movie. I can't remember. Another really forgettable character, but he becomes important later on, surprisingly. And then, so we're later introduced to, well, after that, we're introduced to Nino Brown's brother, G-Money. And the brothers are discussing that this crack, it's a new big thing that's gonna make them tons of money. And they're like,
I love the outfits in this movie.
They're so nice.
Cool.
They're so good too.
The fuzzy merkin hat in the convertible.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Merkin hat.
And the brick phone. Jesus.
The costume designer must have just had a field day.
Oh,
they were just like, yeah, do whatever you want. And she's like, I love fluoro. Everything's going to be fluoro.
Well, because it was
and massive.
supposed to be set in the 80s, and like New York in the 80s, that's like fashion city, so you can have the best fun with that. Now we just wear jeans and a t-shirt.
Yes.
Got no fun.
So then we're taken to they own this nightclub called Spotlight, and I don't know if either of you fellas have seen Goodfellas. But I found it pretty derivative of when Ray Liotta is walking through the nightclub with his, and it's just one long tracking shot, and then they try to do the same thing in this nightclub, but it's, it just looks shit in this.
All I could think of was everyone dancing silently to get that shot, you know, because they don't play music when they do that type of thing, so everybody would have been like,
in their head. They invented
like those silent discos.
Yeah, they invented silent discos.
And Ice-T's hanging around there in the club as well. He's trying to scope out Nino.
Ice-T being there, I was like, okay, so was that so the second, I guess this film, like Lord of the Rings, that had so many endings, this had so many openings. So it was the bridge opening, and then there's the Ice-T opening, but it's like, well, was Ice-T's thing like a flashback from ages ago, or did that happen yesterday and now he's in the nightclub? Like, I was really confused because it's like...
I got really confused straight away too. Because
that's so red hot to do like a drug bust thing and shoot a guy in the street and then be like, well, I'm going to go back to undercover copping now. Just excuse me.
And like...
in the same neighborhood.
It happens later. Yeah, when like Chris Rock interacts with Nino... Like, you'll get into that bit of the story too, Dane. But then I was like, but wouldn't he know exactly who he is? Yeah. I thought there was a bit of a logic inconsistency.
Well, one of many. But, Ice-T, his little gang, the Cash Money Brothers, they get together, they're talking about the cracks come in, and the fella this is part of the logic that doesn't really line up. The fella that witnessed Ice-T do the shooting in the park playground, well, he's now in with the Cash Money Brothers. You would have thought that they would have noticed each other in the park.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they do that. They're like, "Yep, we're gonna do this," and they begin their big old gang takeover, and they start doing drive-bys and killing people. One of the lady gang members jumps out of a car, shoots his bloke.
That came out of nowhere, and again in the middle of the day.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck in this movie.
I literally wrote...
They're the relentless Cash Money Brothers.
Shit, she shot him out of nowhere.
Yeah. So their plan is to take over this big apartment complex called the Carter. They're gonna have their base operations in this big apartment complex. They're gonna sell everything. It's just gonna be this crack castle. And there's a part that I always find quite funny is Wesley Snipes is walking the owner or the manager of the apartment block in front of everyone in broad daylight. He's stark naked, and Wesley Snipes is holding a shotgun under his chin. And he's like, "Hey, you're gonna give me this apartment?" He's like, "Yeah," and off he fucks.
And that's the end of that.
There is a little old fella who is witnessing as well. He kind of comes in and out of scenes as the movie goes on, but again, no name or anything.
Yeah, but ends up playing a very pivotal role.
Then we're at the police station. And, that's right. The director's name, the character he plays, is Detective Stone. Anyway, Detective Stone, he's in charge of the operation, and he's talking to his chief, and he's like, we need our own super group of cops to bring down these Cash Money Brothers. Now, I reckon we should get Ice-T and this other fellow, Nick Peretti. And he's like, fuck no. Ice-T shot an unarmed guy in the park, and Nick Peretti nearly killed his ex-partner in a motorcycle crash. And like, oh, these boys, they're a couple of bad boys. They do what they need to do to get the job done. Detective Stone and Nick, they go into Ice-T's apartment, and They're like, hey, we know you're on suspension for shooting that guy. We want you back. You're going to team up with this guy, and you're going to go after the Cash Money brothers. And there's a lot of tension between these two cops. Nick is white, Ice-T's black, and there's kind of like a few racist barbs traded between the two. And eventually Ice-T agrees, and for whatever reason, his new partner Nick celebrates by shooting holes in Ice-T's wall in the shape of a smiley face. Did you notice that?
I couldn't tell if it was like either Ice-T had like one of those shooting gun range cutouts in his living room, or if there was just like strangely shaped like a head. I don't know. I was really confused by the whole exchange.
He did, but he had like a human target in his room, but he still shot through the wall because of sunlight coming in through the bullet holes. I'm like, what a dick thing to do. Put 5 rounds in this guy's wall.
It's just really hard.
Wow, thanks so much.
They're trying to make it really like dramatic and like, whoa, this guy's a badass. But like, I think they really struggle in the movie to make things be like, wow, this is really impactful and dramatic.
Yeah.
It kind of just comes off as a bit of a joke.
Yeah, just as a fuckwit doing vandalism.
I don't even know. There's like no realism at all.
Well, it's like
think.
blaxploitation films. They're over the top. I think that's where this has obviously, because it's a whole cultural movement, drawn a lot of inspiration from. But then having that blaxploitation, crazy 70s vibe, with the hardcore cop movie, the two don't really mesh well together.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't. It doesn't really know what it wants to do with these cop characters. Then I seen his partner there doing surveillance, and they're watching Nino Brown basically be, Father Christmas. He's down in the streets handing out turkeys to all the people suffering in poverty because of the drugs and the violence and whatnot. And they're like, motherfucker, look at this guy handing out food. Isn't he a good egg? But then Chris Rock's there. He's back. He's looking for turkeys. He gets in a bit of a scuffle trying to steal turkeys, everyone. And Nino Brown's like, you're looking for a job? Come work for me.
After you clean up, because Chris Rock is a full-blown junkie now. He got the brown teeth. He's all homeless looking. Not looking good.
They did a great job of making him look like a foul junkie.
Yeah. He looked real bad.
So Ice-T follows into his little junkie den, and he sort of grabs him, and he's like, I fucking know you. You're going to work for me, but we're going to clean you up.
And then the cutest montage ever.
I hate...
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. So he's...
Chris Rock trying to do,
Ice-T now...
those star jumps and then falling to his knees, but, not really dramatically. And then there's that weird, 70s guitar in the background. It's like... Bow, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
It just didn't... I don't think it achieved what they were trying to achieve in this scene.
It's so lame. It's like...
Yeah.
The corniest
it's super
scene.
Corny. So...
Yeah.
Ice-T gets his bleeding heart and decides to help this junkie, but also use the junkie for his own benefit of taking down Nino. But yeah, just this strange, almost romantic montage of Ice-T trying to get him back to good health and whatnot, when they just don't know each other from the bar.
The only scene it was missing was them on a tandem bike together. Going down the street.
But
we've overcome our differences and we're friends.
This montage kind of highlights how wooden Ice-T was throughout the whole film, because him being happy is the same as him acting like he's angry, and him acting like he's angry is also the same as him acting like he's disappointed. He's just terrible.
So, after that, Chris Rock's all well and good. He's a healthy boy. And we see that Nino's taken over the apartments. They've kind of just risen to power. Junkies everywhere. They've filled the place with armed guards and security and whatnot. And they decide that they're going to send Pookie in there undercover. So what better place to send a newly reformed drug addict to a drug castle to work undercover for the police?
Perfect.
Ridiculous.
Might I just say, despite having the armed guards and the really... arduous process you have to go through to secure a bag of drugs, how did this drug empire get infiltrated so easily? It doesn't make any sense.
You'd think. It's like Fort Knox in there. There's people with machine guns and Uzis. They've got the airport scanners when they're patting people down and everything, and cameras.
But you sent
anyway,
Pookie
and they're like, hey.
in there, and he'll get every ounce of information you need.
Yeah, like they know him. They know he's a junkie. So like, hey, come work for us. And anyway, also this movie jumps around a lot. Like we're at a lot of the different but also sort of repeated locations, but it's all over the place. So now we're back at Club Spotlight. It's new and improved. It's much nicer. Obviously their money's started to come in. There's a mafia fella who's been sort of getting under Nino's skin, being like, hey, like, you guys aren't sharing the wealth. We allowed you to operate here. You got to cut the mafia in. And Nino's like, nah, fuck off. But then the mafia guy comes back with a very racist gift. And it's basically a little statue. And he's like, hey, I want to reward you for all the hard work you've done. And it's this black jockey with a noose around his neck. And you're like, oh.
Not a great present.
Yeah. So Nino cracks it over the mafia guy's head. And there's a bit of a standoff, and they're thrown out of the club. So tensions are building. He's basically like, no, we don't need the mafia anymore. We're our own thing. You guys can fuck off. He cuts his ponytail, like the mafia guy has a ponytail. He cuts that off and throws it at him. I'm like,
yeah,
wonderful. Then we're at Nino's mansion. So he's got this big old mansion now. And he and G Money, well, they've got themselves a couple of girlfriends. Ooh la la. They're sat around watching Scarface, which, Ciarin, I think it was you mentioned earlier that they watched this many times throughout the movie.
And they also have, like, a lot of parallels. But it's too glaringly obvious. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, his wife can't have babies because, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer's womb was polluted in Scarface. So, you know, that was also in Scarface.
Yeah, they reference Scarface so much, and, like, obviously Nino wants to be Scarface. But it's just so on the nose. It's just...
Yeah. So, they're in their castle, and Scarface is on in the background. They're having themselves a good old time. And G-Money's girlfriend, well, she's got the hots for old Nino Brown. She's putting her hands all over him. And Nino Brown, his girlfriend, she's like, get your fucking hands with my man. There's a bit of words.
His girlfriend was so mean to her. She called her a dog. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Also, G-Money's girlfriend is called
Uniqua. Isn't it Uniqua?
Great name.
Yeah.
Uniqua.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm so
be.
sorry. Then she starts stripping in, like, G-Money's girlfriend starts stripping in front of Nino, and it's all very awkward.
It is.
Only
Nino's
then
loving
before Nino's girlfriend storms off, and Nino goes after her, and then he comes back, and G-Money and Uniqua, they're having sex, so he just stands in the doorway drinking and watching his brother have sex with this stripper. It's just compounded into such thick
They need to go to
awkwardness.
family counselling. They have a lot of shit to unpack.
They got a lot of things buried under that rug.
And I just keep on sweeping. Lift the rug up, sweep it under.
So, Pookie now has his first undercover assignment, and the cops aren't thrilled about putting an ex-junkie into this drug den. And Ice-T's like, nah, he's cool. And Ice-T gives him the worst pep talk ever. He's like, you owe me. You owe everyone in this town, you little fucking junkie. Yeah, a junkie just like you. Killed my mother. Didn't say anything. Just killed her. And then, like, he rattles Pookie's cage so unnecessarily, it draws him back into being a crack addict. And he hits the crack pipe again. Great policing there, Ice-T. You've helped this guy get clean.
Really good.
And you just sent
Great
him right back.
skills. Also, I have written down, you know, like, so nobody steals, everybody's naked. Chris Rock is a crackhead. Why was he allowed to wear clothes in the crack den?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
He goes back into the drug den, and he's on crack, and so he's wearing a wire. He has a belt that is a camera. He's got his wire under his clothes, and he's standing in this room where all these ladies are naked, packing up the drugs, and he's dressed in, you know, basically business attire.
A suit, almost.
Yeah, and he's jumping around, he's giggling, he's sassing, and one of the guys, I think it's G-Money, comes in, and he's like, what's going on here? And then they're like, are you high? And they start patting him down, and they find that he's wired up, and they're like, take this motherfucker outside and kill him. Yeah, Pookie's in big trouble. The cops come and they storm this drug castle. Everyone gets shot. yeah, they just kind of barrel in. Everyone's shooting from the hips. It's a pretty terrible shootout. But lots of cops
All the
die.
fight scenes in this movie were horrible. You could tell every time
Yeah.
they'd punch somebody, they weren't actually punching them. They were like acting the punch, like the really dramatically, just
Yeah.
like pew. Like it was kind of like Adam West as Batman without the sound effects.
So yeah, lots of cops die. G Money is like, all right, burn this place down. They start destroying everything that they've built, and the cops finally find Pookie. He is dead, but he's attached to a bomb, and the bomb's ticking down. It's like tick, 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 and they deactivate it with just a couple of seconds to go. But it's too late for dear old Pookie, who had like 3 scenes in this movie. And then we're back in Nino's castle, and Nino is banging his brother's girlfriend now, so he's moved in fast.
Sloppy seconds.
And the phone rings. Yeah. But Nino has no problem with it.
Do you guys want an unrelated story about a guy I went to high school with?
Yes, please.
Sure.
This guy I went to high school with, his brother was a twin, and he had a girlfriend, but then the girlfriend ended up cheating on him with the twin, and then broke it off with the first one. And started dating the second one.
You're nasty.
So,
You're fucking nasty.
yeah, yeah, dinners at the family house would have been fun.
So the phone rings mid route, and Nino
Ring,
answers,
ring.
and G
Hold on a second, baby.
G Money's on the other line. He's like, "Hey, the cops stormed the car to the apartments. We're done. You know, Pookie was an informant." And Nino, he's none too happy about this. So he starts yelling at his brother. He's like, "How could you be so stupid? It's like a police informant into our castle. Fuck you."
Well, I mean,
and it seems that everyone...
no offense, but that's what you get for hiring a crackhead. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, no one in this movie can take criticism because Nino shouted at his brother. Now his brother's turned to being a crack addict. And he starts sucking on the crap pipe. So you got anyone that gives anyone a bad word in this movie, they just turn right to drugs. Everyone's dropping petals left and right. Then, yes, we're at Pookie's funeral. The operation's a big failure. Dead cops, dead robbers, no one to arrest, no evidence. And Ice-T is wallowing in self-pity. And him and his partner are drinking on the top of a roof afterwards. Now, I don't know, we've spoken about continuity in this movie. When they're drinking on the roof after the funeral, their faces are covered in soot and dirt and are just really filthy. But they weren't filthy at the funeral. So I don't know if this scene was meant to take place directly after the shootout, because there was flames in the apartment building and everything, and it's just a big fuck up in continuity.
No, what happened, Dane, is they went to the funeral and then they cleaned the chimney and then they had a drink on the roof.
Chimney.
Logical steps after a day. Yeah, I think it's just a big continuity thing.
I am really
I don't know
sad
what was going
about
on for a lot of the
friend
movie.
Pookie. I drink on the rooftop and I clean chimneys. R.I.P. Pookie, my name is Ice-T. That one was free.
They agree. They're like, "Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm done playing by the book. I'm gonna kill Nino Brown." They meet up with the mafia guy who's been having pretty terse words with Nino throughout the movie. And they're like, "Hey, you're going to work with us or we're going to kill you." And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, if you put it that way."
Real Sophie's Choice in here,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And,
Don't make me think about that movie.
I'm sorry.
the mafia guy sets up, so Ice-T and his partner Nick, they're now undercover as big-time drug dealers. And the mafia guy has set it up with G Money to sort of bring them in. And G Money's like, "Hey, you're going to cut me a side deal. You're going to report to me. This is my operation, blah, blah, blah." And G Money vouches for some cops. Once again, Nino doesn't like him right away. He's like, "Hey, I want to keep an eye on old Ice-T. I don't trust him. I don't."
The least undercover cop ever. Well, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they stick out like sore thumbs. Old Ice-T, now he's in with the Cash Money Brothers. and he's basically on guard duty. And that old guy that's been hooting and hollering, complaining about these Cash Money brothers, he comes into the room. He's like, "You boys, you're evil. You're spreading filth into this neighborhood. Get out of here!" And he pulls a gun on Nino Brown, this little old fella, and tries to kill him. But Ice-T's like, "No, no, no, this is mine." And he tackles the old guy and throws him out. And thus he builds up all this trust with Nino Brown. Nino Brown's like, "You looked out for me. Like, you're not too bad, you and I. Let's be best friends."
Yeah, you knocked over an old guy, probably like the easiest person to...
Yeah, the easiest person to stop.
Yeah. You're an A+ in my books.
But thanks so much. You look a lot like a cop. I'm going to be best friends with you.
Ice-T, he's got his own little plans, and he tells Nino Brown, now that they're buddies, he's like, "Hey, your brother tried to cut me on a side deal." And Nino's like, "Fucking hell, my brother is just fucking up non-stop." Then, randomly, we're at some random guy's wedding. Basically, Nino Brown's there, being a part of the community, handing out lollies and money to all the good boys and girls. And I don't even know whose wedding
See, Ryan,
this is,
you should have got in with
is.
the crack dealers. You would have had your wedding paid for, and they would have handed out candy.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
You saved a lot of money.
Yeah. And the mafia would have helped take the chairs away at the end of the wedding too.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
So yeah, they're at this wedding. It's all gone very well, but while this is happening, partner Nick is breaking into Nino Brown's office to collect some evidence of all Nino Brown's crimes, which are stored on floppy disk.
Oh my god.
It's pretty high tech.
Yeah, like it's labelled clear as day. It's just labelled crimes, and it's that obvious. Like he's got all their financial records and all their dealings and everything just stored on that 1991 technology. And at this wedding, it's sort of wrapping up, and the caterers are packing up. But look out! The caterers are a hit squad. And they bring out all these guns, and they start unloading, and I think the bride is gunned down, or the groom, someone's like, whole bunch of wedding.
And everybody just leaves the little girl to fend for herself.
Oh.
Yeah. So, as everyone's getting mowed down, there's a little girl. She's dropped a toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's dropped a toy on her on the steps, and she runs back to get it, and bullets start flying. And you think Nino's gonna try and save her, have some sort of redeeming quality, but nah, he just uses her as like a bulletproof vest.
Oh, good, a human shield. What?
Yeah.
I need to get
That
a few more.
actually surprised me.
Weren't expecting it, Ryan.
I was not expecting that, because I was like, come on, who uses a kid as a human shield? Like in a movie, even like a villain, they normally have like a little bit of a soft side for kids at least.
Well, I mean,
and this guy, they're shooting at him, and he just grabs this kid.
On another,
and just holds her there in front of him.
Another point, they're really not big enough to be a human shield. Out of all the humans that you could have used as a shield, you pick the smallest one.
I really liked it. I thought the wedding shootout was pretty cool. Like when he did grab the little girl, like obviously they've gone to make him the most vile, despicable person ever.
Like he thinks he's the most important thing in the world, pretty much. Like it's really cool. It's a nice little insight into where his mindset is, and he drops the little girl. She doesn't die, thankfully, and he ducks behind cover, and there's bullets flying, and there's Ice-T, and he draws his gun. He's pointing at the back of old Nino Brown. And then he has this little moment where he's like, "No, I'm going to do this by the book," even though earlier him and his partner are agreeing that they're going to kill him no matter what. So he's changed his mind left and right. And Nino's right-hand lady gets killed too. He's gangster. Like I don't know what she is. She's like a bodyguard for him. She's got a great accent.
And she was shooting... She shot that guy in the head, and she gets killed.
A good old scene.
Probably the most memorable scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly so. Nino's starting to lose his control of the city since losing the Carter buildings, and the mafia's closing in on him. And then they set up another sting, basically. They're like, hey, like this, the cops are like, Nino Brown, he grabbed a little girl. I could have killed him myself, but we're doing this right now. So him and his partner, they set up a sting to go to a drug deal with with old Nino Brown.
Hang on, Dane.
And it's in
Can I
this
stop
big
you?
abandoned warehouse.
Sorry, mate. You missed one of the dumbest things in the movie. So the mafia does the hit, and then they're immediately having coffee outside their cafe, and then they ride past with an Uzi and shoot them all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that happens, I think, before that next scene.
Yeah, they haven't. The mafia are like, oh, this job's done. We're good boys. Let's sit out in the broad daylight. But
It's something straight out of it's like Sons of Anarchy. Like it's like, oh yeah, we just killed a whole bunch of people. Let's go to our shop and hang out.
Yeah, let's
have a nice ice smoker.
Yeah, and they're just all sitting there on the footpath having a coffee, and they just ride past and shoot them all. And that's the end of them. And I was like, okay, cool. Problem solved.
Nino, and then we get a radio announcement saying that the Don of the Mafia, he's been gunned down along with associates. So the Mafia, Nino Brown's wiped them out. And now they're at this drug deal with Ice-T, and he's like, hey, here's the drugs, boys. The fella that was in the park that watched Ice-T shoot Chris Rock, he's there, and he's like, I fucking knew that I recognized this guy. This guy's a cop, and a big old shootout happens again. Heaps of people die, cops die, baddies die. Wesley Snipes all of a sudden becomes Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, and he's hanging from the rooftops.
When he pretends to
He's
be
like-
a dead guy in those pipes, and then he just
Yeah.
jumps out and stabs that guy in there. I was like, all right, Assassin's Creed, Jesus Christ.
He's just the stealthiest boy in the world. Like, he drops down, like, he's hanging these pipes and slits a guy's throat.
Yeah, did I
And,
dream that?
Well,
That he did a Spider-Man kill? Like he went down?
No, that was real.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was imagining things in a better movie or not. But yeah, okay. I'm
Yeah.
glad that
No,
happened.
it's
No,
this
you were
guy.
thinking of Blade.
He like
Yeah. Why didn't you choose Blade, Dane?
maybe one day,
Yeah.
boys. Maybe one day. But yeah, so this has all gone south once again. Nino Brown just gets out by the skin of his teeth, and there's heaps more dead cops, and another sting gone real tits up. And Nino Brown meets with his brother on this rooftop, and this is meant to be the big pivotal moment between them, because you may have seen this meme floating around on the internet where Wesley Snipes is holding a gun with tears in his eyes, or in the meme it's usually a camera
Yeah.
of sorts. That's what this
It's
movie's
quite
from.
infamous, isn't it?
And he's
Yeah,
got a lovely
it's-
fedora
it's-
on.
He does have a lovely fedora
He
on.
took it from the mafia
And,
guys after he gunned
he-
him down at the cafe.
So he's got his G money's there, and he's like, what the fuck? How did this happen? We had everything, and it's all gone tits up. And he's like, hey, G money, is there anything to do with this? And he pulls a crack pipe out, and he's like, you been sucking on this glass dick, hey? And I'm like, ha 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 ha. And he's like, G money's knows that his time's up. He's fucked up too many times. And he's like, no, let's just go back to how it was. You and me, fucking ripping and running, being bad boys. Nino Brown's like, no, I'm on the run. It can never go back to the way it was. But you can try to patch things up with this. And it's like, oh, okay. Tell me more. And Nino Brown pulls the gun on him. G-Money drops to his knees, and throughout this movie, the whole catchphrase is, am I my brother's keeper? And they're like, yes, I am! And they chant that. And so G-Money is meant to be all emotional. He's like, am I my brother's keeper? And Wesley Snipes, he's got tears in his eyes, he's got the gun pointed to his brother's head. He's like, yes, I am! And he kills his brother dead on the roof.
He shoots him without a bullet. Did you guys
Yeah.
notice that? He shoots it,
No.
and it obviously, because I guess it was close range, they didn't put a bullet in it, so he literally just goes, with his hand, he just goes, bap, and then the guy just goes, whoa! But there's like no flash.
I've been hit.
There's no flash, there's not really any recoil on the gun, because you just see him go, pew, and then he just falls over. I literally wrote here, where the fuck is the bullet? There's no
This whole movie, it has a lot of problems.
Yeah. I do remember there was lots of goofy deaths, but yeah, I can't remember any of them, but I think that might have been one. Just the way he just falls over was hilarious.
It's like Justin Bieber getting shot in that NCIS episode or whatever it was. Where he's like...
yeah, outside the car.
What?
Yeah.
When was Justin Bieber in
I'll Google
NCIS?
Oh,
It was-
back long when he had his
Oh.
like longer hair, like early Beebs days.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know if it was NCIS or like Miami Vice. It was one of those type of shows. Yeah, there's too many.
It's pretty funny. He gets shot like platoon style.
Yeah.
Like he gets riddled with bullets.
But like you don't care about it as much, and it's not as powerful.
No.
He just looks
No.
like a jellyfish.
No. So, G Money's dead. Basically, it just reminded me again of Scarface because you both have seen Scarface, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when his best friend in the movie goes and sleeps with Scarface's sister, spoilers, he guns him down in his doorway. It was kind of like a really wet noodle version of that kind of thing. I
Well,
felt.
he fell down like a wet noodle.
Because they built, like in Scarface, they built everything up together. In this, they built everything up together. They're referencing Scarface like a dozen times throughout the movie. So, anyway, old Nino Brown, he's got nothing. All his gang members are dead. He's lost his drug empire. And the cops just sort of keep closing in on him. And he's sat in this little apartment, this shitty little apartment. And Ice-T and Nick, they've had enough. And they come swinging in through the windows like a couple of ninjas.
So funny.
So they do that, and Ice-T and Nino Brown, they start getting in a fist fight where, yeah, Ciarin, you're going to see that they're pulling punches left and right. No one's even coming close to landing contact in this little fight scene.
Yep. It's horrible.
And Ice-T, he's full of anger because it's just everything's gone wrong. So like, I'm gonna fucking get him no matter what. So he beats the shit out of old Nino Brown and throws him down a fire escape. And then this is all happening in broad daylight. So the streets are full and they're cheering on Ice-T. They're like, yeah, do it, kick his ass. Nick's there down on the street and he's like, hey, toss him down.
Yeah, that was
Which
so
I kind of find quite
weird.
funny.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like when, you know, in
Yeah.
Mr. D's where Adam Sandler's throwing the cats out the window for them to rescue.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. D's took a lot of inspiration from
Yes.
New Jack City.
I feel like New Jack City must
knew
have
it.
inspired so many films after this. Like the
So,
the
yeah,
parents in A Quiet Place, just like, oh, he's using a child as a human shield. Noted.
I love that idea.
So the Ice-T beats the shit out of Wesley Snipes, Nino Brown, throws him down in this pile of trash, and he jumps down after him. And Nino Brown's covered in blood. He's beaten. He's bloody. He's done. His time's up. And Ice-T pulls a gun on him. And he's like, and he goes, he's like, I want to shoot you so bad, my dick's hard. And I'm like, what the
That's
fuck?
like what I
The
was saying.
best line.
Some of the lines. Okay, let's just take a little reprieve. Some of the lines I wrote
I think.
down were.
Yeah, I think we need a quote section.
It's like,
yeah.
back to the titties was one I had written down. It's like, sit down, $5 man, or I'll make some change. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and yeah, I want to shoot you so bad, my dick's hard.
There's some...
Is that meant to be a
There's some-
badass line? Is that
Not.
like? Are you meant to go? He is so cool.
Yeah.
But it's just like the lamest thing.
He doesn't even care that he's got a boner in front of everyone.
The whole city is in this street, and he doesn't even care.
So does someone have like
Got
does
one of them
someone have a
murder
jumper
boners.
that I can borrow for a second, tie around my waist?
Earlier in the film, he's upset with everyone, and he and G-Money, I kind of skipped over this because it's irrelevant, like so much else I skipped over, but they're having words, and G-Money's like, hey, you need to do better. And Wesley Snipes says, stick your $5 ass down before I make change. And then we've got that line compared to, I want to shoot you so bad, I've got a boner.
But guys, we're like Scarface. It's like the same movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he's like
So-
on top of Wesley Snipes too. That was just
Yeah.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Can anyone else arrest me right now?
Is that a gun in your pocket? Or do you just really want to shoot me? ¿Por qué no lo estás?
So Nick comes along and he talks Ice-T out. He's like, hey, you know, don't do this, man. And there's people in the street there saying like, I'll testify. Just fucking get him out of here. And that little old guy that's been popping up, you know, who wanted to kill him earlier, he's there. He's in every scene where something goes wrong. And basically, Nino Brown's like, I'll be out of here in a week. Like, I'm going to have the fucking best lawyers. I've got so much money. You can't do shit to me. Like, this has all been for nothing. Surprisingly, we go to like a little court case where I thought it would end. Just kind of a strange final scene. The trial of Nino Brown.
I do like that scene though when Nino has been beaten up, and like from my dick's hard scene, like line. I do like it because like he is at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
Like the whole city's turned on him. The police have got him. Like he is as low as he can, and he got beaten in a fight. Like you've never seen him this low, which is great. But then he's like, "Oh, I'll be fine. I'll be out in a week."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like it. And then it just kind of cuts straight to the courtroom, and you're like, "Okay, cool. We're gonna see it all go down."
Mm-hmm.
Nino's on trial, and they're saying, "Hey, you know, you orchestrated murders and drug deals and everything else. You're the head of the Cash Money Brothers." And he's like, "I'd like to say that's true, but no. It was this Kareem fella who was the real leader. He put me up to it. He threatened to kill me. Get him, boys." And everyone loses their mind like, what the fuck? Wow, this is such a big twist in the case. Like, Nino Brown isn't the big baddie at all. And so he throws Kareem, who was the guy that recognized Ice-T, throws him under the bus. And they go, okay, well, the best we can do is we'll give Nino Brown
with
2
no
years.
evidence. He doesn't have any evidence. He just, like, in the middle of the court trial goes, it was him. That guy did it. And they're just like, well, okay then.
We're not even going to hear his statement or try and get any evidence. We're going to take Nino's word for this.
Yeah, the hardcore criminal.
Like,
He's a very trustworthy man.
Yeah.
I would have loved it because there's so many cheesy lines in this. If Ice-T walked up and he like, Dimmer Dommers wear diapers. But
I wouldn't put it past his script either.
I would have loved it. So Ice-T is like, nah, that's fucking not on. And like, well, there's nothing we can do. Like, we've got to take this guy's word for it. And Nino's walking out there, you know, head held high. He's beat the system. He's thrown the other guy under the bus for all his numerous crimes. And he's reckless drugging. And the press is swarming at the top of this court case stairs. And they're like, firing off all these questions. And the little old guy that's been hanging around the whole time, he comes in, he draws a gun, and he shoots Nino Brown, and then he topples down and falls to his death. And the cops arrest the little old guy for murder, basically. And Ice-T and his partner Nick, they kind of look at each other with a shitty grin, like, well, job's done here, boys.
Give me that promotion.
And, yeah, and that is the end of New Jack City. We get a whole bunch of credits talking about the drug pandemic and how it's affecting communities and neighborhoods and how bad it is. Ends on a nice little message.
I love the music though. New Jack.
Oh, I was going to say, that was one of my notes. Love the soundtrack all through.
Except for that weird montage with the guitar.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. What did you guys think of the death? Like, it's obviously a big bit in the movie.
Yeah. It was unexpected. Like, the little old guy had tried and failed before to kill him, but this time he comes in, like, in a room full of cops and judges and jury and journalists. Like, that guy's going to jail. For probably longer than Nino Brown was just given. But yeah, I liked that it was the little old guy that kind of was a savior at the end. Because you just weren't expecting it.
Yeah, and because he lived in the apartment building before they took it over, right? And that's what his grudges are.
That was his old, because he was down at the station.
I think so, yeah.
Saying, like, you guys, he's just taken over this whole apartment building. We don't have anywhere to live. And they were just like, too bad.
We got Ice-T on the case.
So,
for some strange reason.
So that was New Jack City. Pretty for movies, but it's fun. I'll say it is a fun time, if not a bit cheesy and corny and silly.
I found it very forgettable.
I like the second half. I thought the first half was a bit slow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the second half when everything's kind of going wrong and it just kind of keeps building.
Yeah.
Quite badly. Keeps building to the end, but
yeah.
Yeah, and like that's got the wedding scene, which is probably the most memorable. The meme scene where he shoots his brother.
Yeah.
And then the courtroom. So
I think that Wesley Snipes was the best and most memorable part of the movie.
Absolutely.
The rest of the movie is so forgettable. Some of the things you guys were talking about, I was like, oh wow, yeah, that did happen. Yeah.
the worst thing though is like Wesley Snipes deserves a movie like Scarface.
Yeah.
Like his performance, he's so menacing and ruthless. Like the writing is a bit how you going at the best of times, but he's so good in this movie. He just carries everything.
He really was.
And like he deserves like a Tony Montana. Like he just deserves that type of movie.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we
I love
New Jack City.
I'd love to see Wesley Snipes in more because he's great. I don't know if either you watched
Dolomite Is My Name.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was fantastic in
so,
that.
So good.
Even in Coming to America, the second one, I was like, oh my god, it's Wesley Snipes. I fucking love this. It just was like, it wasn't a good movie, but I loved Wesley Snipes' character in that. He's just got such a commanding screen presence. He's got charisma. He gets whatever they give him and he just spins it into little golden nuggets of goodness.
So good.
Certainly the best. But look, shall we get into trivia? Because I've got my trivia ready, boys.
Oh my goodness. Can I start with my first bit of trivia?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Brian, I would be upset if you didn't.
So Little Bow Wow's 6th studio album is called New Jack City 2.
Oh, Little Bow Wow.
The sequel we deserve. So,
imagine if he did the soundtrack for the sequel.
Speaking of a sequel, they've got a prequel and a sequel that has been written, but I don't think like they're gonna do anything with it. But they were planning on rolling out a prequel and a sequel, so maybe.
Oh, wow.
I can't see the demand being that high.
Yeah. I was going to say, was it even like a popular movie back in the day?
It's a bit of a cult classic.
Well,
like, it was actually like financially and critically successful, but now it's seen more as a cult classic instead of like a blockbuster. Like Scarface, how that's a blockbuster movie. And it's timeless and iconic. This isn't really timeless and iconic, but there is like a really strong following, especially because it was shedding a light on socio-political problems for the black community, which obviously doesn't always get the attention that it deserves. So,
yeah.
It was made for $8 million and it made over $47 million.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is pretty great for a movie from 1991. So you know, a huge hit for back then.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Dano, start us off with some more trivia, mate. What do you got?
So as I mentioned, it was Ice-T's first role. And basically, how it came about is the director, Mario Van Peebles, who played the commanding officer in the movie as well, he was in a nightclub and he heard Ice-T talking shit in the nightclub toilets. And so he said, hey, I like the cut of your jib. You're going to be in my movie. Just because he heard Ice-T fucking sassing some bloke. And that's how he got this role.
Wow.
That's so cool. That's so random.
Yeah.
I love to find my actors in the toilet yelling at someone.
Well, I mean, that's what the quality of his acting was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Toilet quality.
Oh my god.
I have a fun fact. So, Chris Rock, we've praised him for his performance, but did you know the original Pookie was actually Martin Lawrence?
Did you know that was going to be my next bit of trivia?
Did you know? Fuck you. Let me have my... This is my time to shine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, go on.
Elaborate for me, Dane.
Oh, look, I don't want to go stepping on your trivia toes here. I just learned that today myself. But, yeah, Martin Lawrence was meant to play Pookie. He apparently did super well in the audition because both he and Chris Rock were pretty big in the stand-up scene back then. And Chris Rock apparently did dog shit in the audition, but one of Martin Lawrence's comedy mentors passed away, so it really shook Martin Lawrence up, and he stepped away from the role like a couple of weeks before they started filming. So then they called up Chris Rock, and they went, hey, you want to take this role on there, buddy?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, cool. That's interesting.
I really can't imagine Martin Lawrence as a crackhead, though.
No.
I really
No.
think that it ended up working out for the best because Chris Rock was really that was a dynamite performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, better than
Yes.
Spiral.
Yeah, definitely better than Spiral.
So another
Oh.
piece of trivia that I have: the name Nino Brown came from a shopping bag. So that's how they got. That's how they got. There was like.
What?
So it says, the name Nino Brown was a reference to his own sartorial experiences growing up in Harlem in the 1970s. So there was like a whole bunch of guys in the neighborhood that would shop at really expensive stores in Manhattan. So they'd go up to the upper side and buy heaps of cool stuff. And yeah, so one day that's where he got the name from. From the bags that were the really high upper class kind of things people would buy. So that's why Nino Brown came from. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, did you guys know that the story of Nino Brown is based on some people?
Really?
No, I'm
you
not
know?
surprised though.
Yeah. So it's actually based on these guys called the Chamber Brothers, and they're four brothers who sold crack in Detroit. And they had an apartment building called the Broadmoor, and they moved into the 4-story, 52-unit building, selling different types of drugs on each floor. Pretty much exactly like
shit.
Nino does.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild that it happened in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a little bit crazy. But yeah, that was my fun little bit of trivia.
I've got one more thing that I thought was cool.
It better be good if it's the last
Wesley
one.
Snipes has Michael Jackson to thank for his role in the film. Because
Yeah, I did know this. Yeah.
Wesley Snipes was so he auditioned for Martin Scorsese and Quincy Jones to play the tough guy in the short film for Michael Jackson's song Bad. You know, in the you know I'm bad.
In the alley,
in the train
car park?
in the subway. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so the co-writer, so that he wrote the Nino Brown role specifically for Wesley Snipes after seeing the performance because he was so realistic in he kind of like goes, "Hey, you Michael Jackson, you really think you know," and squares up to Michael Jackson basically, and he thought, "Whoa, what a cool guy." You know, I want to write him a role for my
right.
movie.
Ah,
This
no,
is
I
pretty
never
cool.
knew that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, which is pretty wild. Do you guys have any reviews
I
that
do.
you want to shout out?
Should we start with a good one or a bad one?
Go a good one.
A good one?
You may as well give this movie a little bit of praise.
So, the Godfather films transcended their mobster genre. New Jack City doesn't, but it's a great genre film, edgy, vibrant, and full of urgent color. So it's kind of a backhanded compliment. It's like, yeah, you're not as good as the Godfather, but you did a good job.
You did your best.
Yeah. A for effort.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a good one,
Yeah.
a good review?
I've only got a good one. It's not a great one. It's a 3-star from Ben from Letterboxd. And it says, a bit too heavy-handed and almost no substance to the subplots, but features some very entertaining sequences and a powerhouse performance by Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
So,
Solid.
which pretty much summarizes, everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one. It's moderately praiseful. New Jack City has all the energy you could want from a B-grade picture with A-grade aspirations. Like, yeah.
Yep.
But then they gave it 4 out of 5.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I've
yeah, they're big fans.
I've got one more.
yeah.
So, in New Jack City, director Mario Van Peebles seems determined to show that he can make a movie as shallow and violent as any white Hollywood hack. No problem. He did it. 1 star.
Good job, Mario. Good job.
So, what did you guys... would you recommend to watch it? What do you think on the whole?
Nah, like there's obviously better gangster movies out there.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, it's fun. It's the longest movie we've watched in our podcast so far, coming in at 140 minutes
Yeah.
instead
90 minutes.
of
Beautiful 90.
yeah.
Yeah, 80.
I
Yeah.
feel like if it was 90 minutes, I might have enjoyed it more. If they just cut that 30-minute title sequence out, it would have been pretty.
Would have been flying.
Yeah, it could have worked in its favour to be a little bit shorter. Maybe had a bit more I know Wesley Snipes was a big part of it, but I just would have liked to have seen more of him instead of focusing so much on Ice-T and his terrible
That's kind
acting.
of the vibe I want.
Definitely
Would have rather to it have just centered around Wesley Snipes instead of trying to make Ice-T and Wesley Snipes equally as important in the stories, because you don't really get anything about Ice-T. Like, maybe if it was showing the whole mother getting killed by Wesley Snipes thing, that might have been more instead of the chase scene with Chris Rock, if you know what I mean. It would have added. I think if that was kind of focused on more to show why Ice-T was so dejected and was such a bad boy, because we don't really get an explanation of that. We just get really throwaway lines about his mother and the fact, and then we just get pummeled in the face that he's a bad boy cop and he doesn't follow the rules and he wears sunglasses in court. So
well, what I skipped over, and I don't know how important it is now, but we found out in one of the random little mini scenes of that it was actually Wesley Snipes, old Nino Brown, that killed Ice-T's mum when he was a young and up and coming gangster. That was the biggest plot twist of the movie.
And that's what Ice-T throws out too. He goes, "That teacher you shot was my mom," and then he starts talking about how he has a boner. So
really, it takes away the importance of that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would also not recommend this. I don't know. The script needs some work. The performances, there's some good ones and some real bad ones.
Yeah, I think
it is, I suppose, enjoyable, but it is too long.
Yeah.
Just watch a better
movie.
Just watch a better movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, when you're watching it, you're like, "Fuck! I wish I was watching Scarface right now."
The socio-political stuff, it really hit the nail on the head. I think in terms of that, it was really doing something important. But I think mixing in that the blaxploitation 70s film with a hardcore cop movie and a gangster movie, it was too much going on, and the characters didn't feel real. So I think the importance of what they were trying to do, and they did try to make it dramatic, it just didn't really work. I think that that it just failed massively at what it was trying to do.
There could be a really good movie in here with a better director. I think
Martin Scorsese should just.
No offense to this guy, but
if you want to do a gangster movie, get Martin Scorsese to do it, and you won't go wrong.
He hasn't gone on to do any other big time movies. He's, like I said, directed a bunch of TV episodes. But
do you guys have any recommendations if someone likes such and such? They might like New Jack City.
Scarface, Goodfellas. Just watch them.
It
takes sort of.
Wood, I guess.
Yeah, that was my one, Ciarin, I suppose.
Yeah.
You might like New Jack City. It's not as good as any of those films, but
yeah.
What's
that movie with Ice Cube? You know, the one that they made. You know, the Straight Outta Compton movie that they made with Ice.
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton. Isn't it?
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Because it's centered around okay, let me do that again. If you like Straight Outta Compton, maybe because it is centered around gang violence and growing up in a black neighborhood, that type of thing, and those kind of relationships and dynamics, I think, or Boys in the Hood.
Well, I suppose it's time for us to try out a little something new that we haven't done before. A little what's trending segment.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if either of you have seen it. It's made me so angry. But the trailer for the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg.
I have not seen it.
Dane.
Tell me what grinds your gears.
Oh, everything.
Where do you start on this movie? Yeah,
it's I'm a big fan of the Uncharted game series.
I think the first thing you ever said to me, Dane, was, "Hi, my name's Dane. Hey, I love Uncharted." I think it was something along those lines.
I think so.
And I was like, "Oh, cool."
I think so. Yeah, if you don't know the Uncharted games, they're kind of an homage to Indiana Jones sort of thing. They're kind of a smug charming treasure hunter that you know, getting in shootouts and trying to scheme and everything. But it's got a lot of charm and charisma about it.
Yeah.
And it goes for it's told over 4 games.
A
And
spin-off and a PS
basically
Vita game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sony made this because Sony owns the Uncharted series, and then Tom Holland's like, I want to play a young Nathan Drake, who is the lead character in the game series, and it's going to be a prequel, and it's all wrong. I hate it. The trailer has every big action set. The games are if Michael Bay directed video games. So they've taken all the big action set pieces from all 4 games and thrown them into a movie that's meant to be a prequel that is meant to happen before any of these things happen. I fucking hate it.
I think
It's so bad. And like, this movie has been in like development hell for like 10, 15 years or something like that. And then we finally got the announcement of the cast, and it was Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. And like, you don't need to know much about the games, but you've seen those characters. Literally, Nathan Drake is what's his name from Firefly?
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Oh,
Fillion.
Yeah, sorry. Nathan Fillion, and then I don't know. It just poorly miscast.
Nathan Fillion made his own little fan film like a couple of years ago, where he basically is playing like a real life Nathan Drake, and it was amazing. It was like
so
a 12-minute
good.
long YouTube clip.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And then the character that Mark Wahlberg is meant to be playing is meant to be this old kind of hustler, like a really charming character. He helps Nathan Drake in all the games. But then you've got Mark Wahlberg, who just always plays a thug in almost
I'm
everything.
Sorry. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I can't stand Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg is so bad. Yeah.
There's maybe
All I think
3 films
I don't even
of his
think
that I like, but
yeah. I think is the happening when he's like, "What? No."
I feel like we're just gonna have to do. I honestly think we should just
I think we
do
might have to.
a month long of M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah, I think we might have to.
I mean, Mark Wahlberg was fantastic in The Departed. I really liked him in Pain and Gain, and Contraband, I think, was the other one I liked him in. But everything else, he's just, you're like, oh, that's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
You don't see him as a character actor.
No, he's not a character actor at all. But there are people like Bruce Willis kind of plays Bruce Willis all the time, but you can kind of look past Bruce Willis because he's just cool, and but he's doesn't hold a candle to fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah. And like the worst bit about Mark Wahlberg in the movie is like everyone has the same opinion. The only like the main characteristic of Sully is he has a big mustache. Mark Wahlberg's like, no, I'm not having a mustache. And you're like, fucking hell.
People might not know it's me, Mark Wahlberg.
I've got to show my whole face in every movie.
It's I imagine in the movie he'll be like, oh man, I'm hungry. Me, Victor Sullivan. I might have myself a Sully burger. And then he winks at the camera and has a Wahlburger.
Oh my god. I think there just needs to be a blanket rule, don't turn a video game into a movie. When has it ever worked out?
There's been one time, and it was Rockstar's interpretation of The Warriors, which is a film I love. And they did it great. They made their own little prequel story, which synced up perfectly with the story of the movie. Then you played out the movie perfectly. It was amazing. But that's been the only ever video game movie adaptation that has been worthwhile.
Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. There's enough other ideas out there. Just stop.
Shall we round up by saying what we've watched lately?
Yeah, what have I watched lately? Leave it with me. Hold on, let me think.
Oh well, I have started Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Oh,
which is
any good?
New horror series by the guy who did the Hill House movie, the Hill House TV show. It is goddamn fantastic. It is
really
absolutely gorgeous. The show. Sorry, Mike Flanagan is his name. I need to give credit to him because Mike Flanagan is incredible. Yeah, big fan. And Ciarin, you're a big horror fan. I think, you'll probably really dig it as well. But it has like the perfect setup for a good horror story. it's like a deserted, dying town that used to be like this big hub that's slowly dying, and then the story kind of kicks off with a big storm, and it's all coming together so good. It is fantastic. Loving it. Granted, I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, it is really good. And it's on Netflix, so it's super easy to watch.
I recently watched The Woman in the Window with Amy Adams as the main character. It's on Netflix as well.
Oh, I love Amy Adams.
Yeah,
I think,
is that terrible?
I think we should watch it one day because fuck, it was shit.
Oh, what a
this is
shame.
PSA,
Yeah.
don't watch it.
I hadn't heard of it, but I really like Amy Adams. So what a
Yeah, I'm
shame.
a big Amy Adams fan as well. Yeah, I think I saw a reviewer from one of the YouTubers that I liked that said possibly the worst movie ever, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
damn.
I think one day,
Yeah,
I think we
Jesus.
should add that to our endless list of movies that we need to talk about because far out. That was something else.
about you, mate?
I've just finished watching the latest season of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
It is such a fucking funny show. Like, everyone in that series is so funny. It really starts getting its own, like, everyone starts getting their own, like, little stories and stuff instead of just, like, singular episodes. It actually starts having, like, a really good branching story. So I'm done with that now, and I'm just about to start the latest season of Succession, which I'm super keen for.
Yeah, nice. But you're one of those rich kids with Foxtel. I see.
No, it's on binge.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm
All right.
I'm patient.
I might have to get binge.
I'm patiently waiting for all my anime to come out for the season. So, Demon Slayer and the next season of Attack on Titan. My body is ready.
Live action Cowboy Bebop.
Yo, Cowboy Bebop.
The trailer just got released today,
really?
actually.
I don't know if I want to watch it. I feel like it would disappoint me.
It's got is it John Cho from
Yes. Yeah.
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle? And,
Oh,
yeah.
that's something I did
Yeah.
watch.
And
I watched
It's
that.
him.
I watched that
Yeah.
movie Searching with John Cho in it.
Oh, good movie.
It was interesting. It was just different, I guess. It wasn't like amazing.
Yeah.
Deborah Messing was
Yeah.
fucking terrible, but yeah, that I did watch that the other day. And it was different, something different. So might be one we can all chat about one day.
Because
Lovely.
there's like a lot of those movies now that are like set in a computer or set on a webcam, but I think that one, I don't know, had the most thought into it. Like it made the most coherent sense.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the bad horror ones just don't work that well.
Speaking of movies that we should watch, it is Ryan's turn to pick a movie.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Pressure's
goodness.
on, buddy.
Okay. Well, this episode's obviously going to be coming out a bit later, but this weekend that we're recording, it's going to be Halloween. So, and there was a new trailer out for the most recent movie in the series, and so I believe we are going to watch Scream.
Whoa!
The original Scream.
Oh!
Which I think is a fantastic movie.
I love
It's a
Scream.
Great,
I love Scream.
yeah, it's a
Jinx, buy me a Coke.
Jinx. Damn it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, some horror movies are like, I love horror. Some of them are just dreadful to sit through. This one is fun. It's so self-aware. It's a great film, and it like revived the slasher genre as well. So
Good
Should-
movie.
Is this latest Scream? Is it a reboot?
No,
but it's got like the original. It's like a
Scream 5. Scream 5. It's got the original cast. It's just
It's got the original cast in it.
Wes
Awesome.
Craven's just
Yeah,
dead, so he's not directing it. Obviously, I don't think he could do that
Yeah,
unless there's something.
I don't know
going on
if
we don't
it's
know
like
about.
a I don't know if it's like a reboot or one of the
No.
a retelling or whatever they call them. I don't know.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a new.
So-
It's a new chapter in the Scream, the
Okay.
Scream universe because Courtney Cox
Great.
is back as the news reporter and everybody's
Okay,
back
as you-
as their original characters, but they're not retelling there's another Ghostface, which one thing I often think of, why is it not called Ghostface and it's called Scream? But that's something we can discuss next week, I guess.
My dear friends, thanks for sitting through this movie with me, but I suppose it's time for us to wrap it up here.
Yes, thanks for
What a
watching
pleasure.
movies with me, boys. You guys are good
Thanks,
boys,
guys.
Yeah.
even if you do suggest the fucking worst movies to watch.
Oh well, guys. Oh well. And thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in to the latest episode of Ticket Stubs. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Ticket Stubs to stay up to date with everything we're up to. And let us know what you think we should watch next. You can also check out our blog and a bunch of videos and extras on our website at www.ticketstubs.com.au. Yeah, that's it from us. We'll catch you next time where we watch, dissect, and discuss Scream.
Woo!
Lovely. Thanks, buddies.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks, guys.